Welcome back to part 5 of the Lovable course, and in this module we'll be discussing how to use Stripe to process payments from users. We'll also discuss how to use Resend for things such as emails and also how to customize the email templates, and then I'll just dive in quickly to give a very quick intro on MCPs. Now, in the previous module we added authentication for users to sign up. So now let's add a Stripe pricing model so that users, after 3 free trials, they have to sign up on a subscription basis. So let's just prompt Lovable to add our Stripe integration, and let's just say provide new users with 3 free trials, and afterwards introduce a Stripe paywall. And then we can also ask it what subscription model it recommends. What subscription model do you recommend for this, there's a little typo there, specific application? Okay, so it looks like it's providing some suggestions on the subscription model, and it's basically asking us what model we would prefer using, and it gave us 3 options: a tiered plan, a credits or usage based plan, or a monthly subscription. So I'm thinking we can do 3 plans. The first one is our free trial, so they get 3 free trials, and then if they want to continue using it, they can then subscribe to another plan, which is, let's say, the basic, and let's say they can get up to 30 generations per month, and then after that they can subscribe to a pro plan, which will give them unlimited free generations. So let's just go ahead and click on monthly, or actually I'd rather say let's do a free plan where the user gets a total of 3 free trials forever. Once that is exceeded, they won't be able to generate PRDs. Then a basic plan where they can use the PRD generator for up to 30 times in a month, for a total cost of $4.99 a month. And then a premium plan where they get infinite PRD generations for a total cost of $12.99 a month. And let's just implement that right now. Now you can see here it's asking for a Stripe API key, so let's head over to Stripe and get our API key. Now initially we'll use a test mode API key, which essentially means that no real transactions will be processed. Okay, so we've now created our Stripe account, and we can then go ahead and create a sandbox. So this will essentially allow us to test our payments, and let's just create an account from scratch. Test Lovable and create sandbox. Now inside the sandbox we will then get our API key and then copy and paste that into Lovable, and we'll be able then to monitor transactions, and of course no real transactions are being processed in the sandbox or test mode. So if you go down here to developers, and I'll also show you, and just click API keys, I'll also show you later how to use test clocks to test monthly subscriptions. So this is our Stripe API key here, and we'll just go ahead and copy our secret and then paste it in here. So you can see here it's going to create our Stripe products that we asked before, which are the 3 plans essentially. So we'll go ahead and click allow, and Lovable is actually going to speak with Stripe and then create these products here, and it should be in the product catalog. So let's just wait for it to finalize, and we're going to have to enable and allow every single plan here that it's recommending. And of course it's going to have to set up a database to track the usage, or how many times a user generates the document. So we'll just click on allow. Okay, so it looks like it's added all plans, and yeah, let's go to this URL here. Oh, it shouldn't have opened it in this page, but we just want to verify that those 3 products, so for each plan there's going to be a product. So free, basic and premium, we're going to have a product for each one, and we can just verify that in the Stripe portal here. Let's go to the product catalog, and keep in mind we're in the sandbox. So yeah, premium, basic, and I guess There's no need to create a product for the free one because you're not actually processing transactions, are you? So yeah, this is correct. And it's got the pricing correct and also the naming correct, the naming convention. So yeah, let's test this. And ideally we want the user to be informed on how many trials they have left. So let's just sign in into one of our accounts that we previously created. Ideally here, okay, we've got our 3 free generations left. So let me use up all of these and then it should introduce the paywall, the Stripe paywall. Okay, so I've used all my free generations. I have none left. And this is an account on a free trial. So let's just go ahead and create our document here and it should, there we go. So it's introducing us to the paywall. This is what we call a Stripe paywall. So yeah, as we mentioned, 3 free generations in total, then 30 a month, and then unlimited. So let's upgrade to the basic plan. So whenever you use a sandbox or test environment, as I mentioned, it's not going to process real transactions or real money. So in this scenario, what we can do is we can just put our credit card details in and then update your account number with this number here. So 42424242. And that tells Stripe that it's it's not a real transaction. So we'll just go ahead and subscribe. So yeah, let's check if the subscription has been activated for our user. And let's go to database and users. We only have one user and it looks like it's not updated, or I could be wrong. Ideally, it should say the plan here, the Stripe plan, so we can add that in right now. However, let's see in Stripe, or in the actual app itself, let's log back in. And yeah, it still says 3 free generations left, and it's not upgraded the account. So let's just see here if it's, oh yes, it's added that user in, and they're on the correct subscription. And my guess is that we've not registered or saved essentially every Stripe plan that a user is on. We're not saving that anywhere in Lovable, so we'll have to save that. I'd say we can add it in here. So let's just tell Lovable the user zachfrull@hotmail.com just upgraded to the Stripe basic plan. However, in the app it still says free plan, as we are not saving the Stripe plans users are currently on. So let's just see what Lovable does. It should add the plan into the database, into one of the tables, or it might create a new table. Let's see what it does. Okay, so it looks like it's now reading correctly from Stripe, and as you can see here, it says that we have a total of 30 generations this month. So it did upgrade the users successfully, and yeah, keep in mind no real payments were made, given that we're still using the test environment. Now the next thing we're going to test is something called Stripe Clocks, which is a feature inside Stripe. Now the reason why you want to use this to stress test your payment processor is that you want to make sure that if you have a monthly subscription plans and a user unsubscribes, that they are not deducted the next month's payment. And also if they, let's say, stay on the payment plan, you want to make sure that you actually deduct the payment after 30 days. So we're going to test this right now, and ideally this should reset to 30 because every month they get 30 free generations. And also it will say here in the transactions that $5 has been deducted from this specific user. So let's just search for test clocks here in the search bar, and here we go. Yeah, so let's go ahead and create a new simulation, and essentially what's going to happen is we're going to fast forward by over 30 days, and that way we want to be sure that since our user is still subscribed and they've not cancelled their subscription, that the payment is actually deducted. So let's just go ahead and call it test. Now the start date will be today, and let's just go ahead and click create. Okay, let's just go ahead and add our user that we want to test, and we'll just say name test, and email, we'll just use this one. let's click on add customer, and then what we want to do is we'll create an account with that same email. Let's call him Zach. Oh, sorry, no, info at, yep. And then create account. We should now be able to sign in, and yep, perfect. Let's just upgrade this user also. And I'll upgrade to the basic plan. Let's just verify that they've been added. Yep. Now for our user that we added here, let's just add a subscription, which will be one of our products. Let's just go ahead with the basic and then create test subscription. So it looks like we have to add a payment method. So we'll just use, again, the same 4242 that we used before, and then click on create test subscription. So let's advance the time again by another month and click on advance, and it should deduct a further $5 from this customer. So we can see here that the second payment has been made, and because they're still subscribed, they've been deducted a further $5. Now if we go ahead and click on cancel subscription immediately, and we'll cancel this, and then we fast forward by another month, no deductions should be made. So let's just go ahead and go to the 13th and click on advance. So you can see here inside the simulation, we're at the 13th of March, and it says the product, which is the basic plan, has been cancelled. And as you can see here, no deductions were made for the month of March, given that they cancelled just after February. So it's all working fine, and I'm quite happy with this. So after we've stress tested payments and we're confident and sure that it works, the next step would be to move into outside of the sandbox in Stripe and into the live environment to process real payments. So the way to do this is if you just click up here on the top left and then click on exit sandbox, and then we're just going to do the same thing we done before. Now it's still in test mode, so we'll also need to exit the test mode, and to do that we do need to complete our business profile. And essentially what will happen is once you exit the test mode, you're going to do the same thing we'd done before when getting the secret key. You just go to developer, API keys, and then you're going to copy and paste the secret key from the live Stripe environment into your Lovable app. So you're basically going to swap your sandbox or test keys for your live keys, and that means that real payments will be processed. Okay, now that we've covered Stripe, the next thing we're going to discuss is Resend, and you might have heard of this third-party service already. Essentially what Resend is an email API. So this means that we can attach our domain to Resend and then send emails using the Resend API by adding the API key into our Lovable app, and that just means that we can trigger these email events whenever we'd like. And also, it might be, for example, a user cancels and you want to send them a follow-up email just asking why they've cancelled, or you want to ask for feedback, whatever case it is. And you can also make the email templates really nice and pretty, and you can also attach a customized email. So yeah, I've actually created an existing video that already covers Resend, so I'll just include it here. Hey guys, so in today's video I'll be showing you how to build custom email templates with your own domain name using Lovable, Resend, and Namecheap. Now if you're using Supabase for email authentication, you can see by this email right here that it looks very unprofessional, and if you were to try to get your new users for your apps or even deliver a client project, the client might ask to add a logo or customize the email, and we can do that using tools like Resend. So here is a preview of one of the custom email templates that I've used for one of my apps, and I'll be showing you guys how to do this in this video. Okay guys, the first thing we're going to do is go into Perplexity, and this will help us generate our Lovable prompt that we will use to feed into Lovable to create our app. So let's just say provide a Lovable.dev prompt to create a social media networking app that has user authentication. So we'll add the user authentication already from the beginning, and it saves us just doing it in a second prompt later on. Okay, so it's generated our Lovable prompt. So now let's copy and paste this into Lovable, and we'll go ahead and create a new project. Okay, so it looks like it's asking us to already add Supabase before creating the application, so we'll just go ahead and do that. Now for Supabase, make sure you're in your workspace. If you don't already have a project, then go ahead and create one. If you already have an existing project, just like I do, we can just go ahead in here and click Connect Supabase and connect a project. I will be using this project here. Once that's clicked, it will connect the Lovable project to our Supabase project in our workspace. Now we'll just have to let it know that it can finish building the social media app. Now build out the social media app, networking app requested in the very first prompt I provided. So it's just created a table to store users in, so we could just go ahead and approve that, and it will add a table into Supabase. Okay, now let's try signing into the application. So I'll just go ahead and add my email here, and then just a dummy password, and I'll click create account. Okay, so this was the email that was sent from Supabase into our inbox. Now this will get sent to every user that signs up, and you can just see that it doesn't look very professional, and it's also not really customized, so it's from Supabase and not from a custom email. So ideally, if we were working for a client or we're trying to get our own users to sign up to our own personal app, we want to customize that experience and just make it look slightly more professional. So the way we do this is by using Resend. Resend has a direct integration within Lovable, and it essentially allows you to add your domain name of your website and then use custom emails to then send to your users whenever they register or reset password. You can just use Resend to send that customized email. So to purchase our domain name for our app, we're just going to go to namecheap.com and search for a cheap domain. We can just use connecthive47.com, and we can just use this one here. Then just confirm order, and then just click on buy now or pay now. Now let's connect the domain name we just purchased from Namecheap and connect it to our Lovable project in here, settings and domains, and we're going to add an existing domain. Now let's just copy and paste the domain name, which is this one, add it here, and click continue, and it should automatically transfer the DNS records. Looks like our domain name is now configured. Just click on done. Okay, so now let's get our domain name and add it to Resend here. Once you've created your account, just go to domains, click on add domain, type in the name of your domain name, and then just click on, select the region that's closest to you, click on add domain. Now what we'll have to do is we're going to have to transfer these DNS records into Namecheap, where we purchased the domain name from. So let's go ahead and do that. Just go to the dashboard, find your domain name here, this one here, and then click on manage, and then go to advanced DNS, and this is where we'll add our records that Resend has provided us with. We're just going to add them in here, so just copy this value here, and it's of type MX. So for the MX, we'll have to go into mail settings here, click on custom MX, and then type in send, just copy and paste the value in, and then it was of priority 10. TTL is automatic, then just click on save all changes. Now let's go ahead and add the other records in from Resend. So just copy this value here. This is of type text, and it says send, and it has no priority, and the time to live is auto. So let's just go ahead and add that here. The text record, send, and then paste the value. Let's add the next text record, which is also send, and copy that value here, paste it here. And this one actually has a different name, which is resend._domain key. So make sure you get that right and paste it here. Now the third record is the DMARC record. So let's just copy the value here. Time to live is also auto, and then it's of type text. So we'll add that in also. And the name is _DMARC, and just click on save all changes. Just a quick update. It looks as if I had to change the host to, instead of send, just use the @ symbol here, and also here. For some reason, it wasn't accepting send. Now these are all verified. Now the next step is to go into Resend and create an API key. And if you just go ahead and I'll just name it test. You can name it whichever you like. Just give it full access and then click on add. Just copy that API key, and we'll go into our Supabase project here. Then go into edge functions, secrets, and we'll add our Resend API key here. Make sure you click on save. So what we're going to do next is to add a Supabase edge function. Now the purpose of this edge function is to essentially allow users to click on a verification email when they sign up, and that way once they click, we know they're registered. So let's just go ahead and create that prompt. So please create a Supabase edge function, so when a user signs up they will receive a verification email that they will have to confirm when they sign up. Once they accept the email and verify their account, then redirect them to the user's dashboard page. Now we also have to go into Supabase in authentication, and under auth hooks, we click on auth hook and click on send email hook. Then we just click on HTTPS and post in your URL here. So essentially for the URL, all you have to do is, if you go to your Supabase URL and select this section of the URL and paste it in here, and you should be fine. And then click on generate secrets. Okay, make sure once you've created the authentication hook that you reveal the secrets in here, that you only copy and paste this secret without this part, without the v1. Just copy this, and once you've copied it, go into Edge Functions, Secrets, and then type in send email hook secret, and paste that value in. Make sure it's missing those 3 initial characters, and then click on save. And then once we go into our app, for this case, we'll just use the preview URL and click on create account. Now you can see the account was created successfully, so the email should have been sent to our inbox. Now this is what it looks like, Connect Hive, and this is our custom email that was sent using Resend. So as you can see, it looks slightly more professional and more customized. Of course, you can customize it even more or as much as you like. And once the user clicks on confirm your email, you just get redirected to the URL of the app. And if you check on your logs also, you can see that this is the content of the email that was sent. So it's definitely using Resend. And yeah, that's how to customize your emails. So you can use this for resetting passwords, user sign up, and also sending invoices. And it's just a way to make them look nice and professional. So the final thing we're going to discuss in this module is MCPs. Now, these are model context protocols, and again, this is just a good to know. So I'll quickly provide a brief introduction into MCPs. So we'll just be following the Lovable instructions here. Now, if you go to settings, and then we go to integrations, which is here, and here are our MCP servers. So if you just go ahead and click on setup N8N, and then let's click on connect. So if you just click on how to set up here, we'll then have to set up our N8N server for this. And I've not set it up yet, so we'll go through this together. So let's just head over to N8N, and I'll need to create a new account. So once you've created your account in N8N, let's just click on settings and then MCP access, and click on the toggle here to enable your MCP. And let's just copy this server URL and then just paste in your server URL and click on add and authorize. And then let's just click on allow here. Now you then want to go into your N8N workflows and make sure your workflow is active, and also click on enable MCP access here. And it will then say available in MCP right here. Now go back into Lovable and we'll just say connect to the agent workflow in N8N. Let me just double check. I got the AI agent workflow in N8N, and then we'll just click enter. Now we'll then click allow. Okay, so you can see that Lovable was capable of reading the description of the workflow, and it understands exactly what it is. And although it might be slightly irrelevant to this specific application, let's just go ahead and integrate it into our app. So what we can do now is we can then add a button on our homepage to trigger that N8N workflow. And keep in mind, there's plenty of N8N templates online. I mean, people do free giveaways all the time on X. So you can just import a template here, and then you'll be able to trigger that workflow from a Lovable app through the MCP. Okay, so it looks like it's added a trigger. Now it looks like it's added a button to trigger our N8N workflow, and let's just click on the button here, get summary. Now again, this is somewhat irrelevant to this application, but it's just to show you how powerful the MCPs can be. Again, you can integrate different applications, not only N8N, but also Notion, Linear. So you can see here by clicking on the button, it triggered our N8N workflow, and as you can see here, it was successful. So that's all we'll be covering in this module. Now, for the next module, we'll be mainly covering deployment and handoff. So yeah, stay tuned for the next module.